Don't burn out before you begin. 2024 and the beginning of every single year before it is the perfect opportunity for small business owners to absolutely burn themselves out before they've even begun the year. And I don't want that for you. I want you to come into the year with clear focus and make sure that you are focusing on your goals, your actions, and how you evaluate that you're staying on track with those things. What I see so often is new business owners, or early in the start of a business, people will come into the year with this idea that they've got to hit the ground running or get everything done as quickly as possible because they somehow feel behind from taking a bit of time off, and their nervous system is so triggered from the holidays that they come back in and they're just go, go, go. And what tends to happen is that so many business owners will focus on trying to hit a year's worth of goals in the first quarter of the year, and they absolutely burn themselves out. They're absolutely knackered, they're done, they're so tired, and a lot of the time it means that the business actually suffers over the long term because you just don't have anything to give to it anymore. So I want to talk to you about the three kind of key areas: the goals that you set and how you set them in the best possible way to get the most return, the actions and how you continue to take the actions time and time again to actually get the results, and then how you evaluate this process to make sure that you are moving in the right direction. Okay, so let's jump straight in. Your first one is your goals. Now, a lot of the time I see the same mistakes being made. So I'm going to give you my kind of thought process around goals, how you should set them, what they should look like. So the very first thing is you're gonna have a maximum of 3 goals. That's it. For your whole business, for the whole year, 3 goals. And these goals can be big, okay? Because if you think about it, if you've got 3 goals over a full year, each goal can take you about 4 months to complete. Now, this doesn't mean that it has to be like the first 4 months are 1 goal, the next 4 months are 1 goal. It just means that that's about how much time you have to actually consistently give to this goal. So you could say you want to hit a certain income amount, you want to hit a certain amount of sales, you want to finish a certain project, so recreate a course, or create your own course from scratch, or go down the route of writing a book, or whatever the goal is, okay? Maybe it's a website, rebranding, all of that sort of stuff could come into this. But what you want to do is you want to focus on making sure that you've got 3 distinct goals, and each of those goals needs to be mapped out. So it's not as simple as just saying new website, goal 1. No. What you want to do is you want to map this out as clearly as possible. So you want to break it down. What does it mean? What does it look like? How will it be complete? How do you know it's complete? How will you feel when it's done? And you want to try to be as specific as possible. So you can use the method of your open questions. So how will it get done? When will it get done by? Why does it need to be done? What needs to be done? Where does it need to be done? Who needs to do it? Etc. To just dive into as much detail as possible. And if you're doing something, if your goal is something like a course that you want to do, map out the modules. What's it going to look like? What is it going to take to get done? How many things do you need to film? How many things do you need to create? Worksheets, videos, etc. If it is something like a book, map out the chapters, the key points in each chapter, what this all looks like. Like when you're doing your planning for your year and your goals, it shouldn't just be like, oh, these are the 3 things I want to do. You want to map it out as deeply as possible, because what you're doing then is you're pulling into consciousness, this is what actually needs to be done. It's not just this big, scary, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. It's actually a clear plan by the time that you're finished mapping out. So 3 goals deeply mapped out is going to be the first thing that you want to do. Okay, the next thing once you map out your goals, you've got your 3 goals, you've got your plan under each as to what it's going to take to make these goals possible. You then want to like match a habit to each goal. Okay, so if you're linking habits to goals, you're more likely to succeed in your goals, because a habit is an everyday action that you take that forms part of actually completing that goal. So it might be that the habit that you need to form is, for instance, if you're going to write a book, the habit is that you need to write words every single day. Simple. Okay, so you're going to say, I know that I want to write a book. It is this many chapters. That's going to be roughly this many words, which means I need to write around, 1,000 words a day to get this done in a 4-month period, as an example. You can break this down however you like. So say, for instance, the objective is to hit a certain income goal. You might say, okay, the thing that I need to get comfortable with and the action that I need to be taking is selling every day. So I'm going to be selling at least once a day, either in a reel, email, an Instagram story, a Facebook post. Like, I'm going to be selling somewhere in my world once a day, and that's going to be the habit that I start to form. And the beautiful thing with the habit is it doesn't have to start getting your results immediately. Yeah, the first 1,000 words you write might be rubbish. The first time you post a sales message, it might be rubbish. But actually what you're doing is you're becoming the person who does the thing. You're becoming the person who takes the action. And that's what you really want to form. So the habit needs to directly link to the outcome that you want. So for instance, one of my personal goals at the moment is to run a marathon, which means that the habit, you got it, is going running and doing strength training. So 6 out of 7 days a week, I'm either out on the road running or I'm in the gym doing strength training. That's the habit that I'm forming. Some days those runs are terrible. Like, I walk more than I run. It's awful. It's hard. And some days the strength training at the gym is slow and not very good. But I'm forming the habit of being the person who goes every single time. Every time I'm supposed to, I go. And this is what is really, really key. Because not only are you getting better at the thing that you want to get better at, but you're also retraining your brain that when I say I'm going to do something, I follow through. It's a discipline game, as well as a training towards the thing that you want to achieve. So by playing the discipline game, you are reprogramming your brain to say, actually, when I say I'm going to do this, I succeed, I do the thing, I take the action, I get the result. And that is super powerful as you go through this process. So I want you to think about that, okay? So 3 goals, maximum, broken down into as much detail as you can possibly imagine, and then linked to a habit that is going to support the success of every single one of these goals. Okay? So that's your first piece, the first thing that you're going to focus on. The second thing is then the actual action. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had years where I've written down 3 lofty goals and then forgotten about them by the 3rd of January, and that's the end of that. Find them at the end of the year. I'm either amazed that I actually managed to stay somewhat on track, or I'm like, oh yeah, I said I was going to do that. I forgot. We don't want that, okay? So the way that we've written our goals and the way that we've made them so super specific and so detailed will already be a level deeper than just like big goals that mean nothing. So that's the first thing. The second thing around the actions is that your goals have to be visible. They have to be visible. I don't care who you are, what you do, how good your brain is, your goals have to be visible. Because when you put things visible to your life, to your surroundings, you are making it easier for your subconscious to think about how you're going to achieve this without you having to actually give it any thought. So this can look like anything you want, okay? This can be your goals printed out, you know, written out, stuck on a wall behind your computer, you know, post-it notes stuck on your mirrors in your house. This can be a vision board that you've, you know, created and printed out and put up on a wall with pictures and all the beautiful things. This can be the background image on your computer or your phone. However you want to do this. This year I've gotten really fancy and I've bought myself bottles of champagne, and I've written goals on them, and as we sort of hit the goals, we're going to pop the bottles of champagne, and that's going to be incredible. However you want to do this, it doesn't matter. Yeah, as long as you can visibly see them. So my bottles of champagne are literally sitting right here next to my desk. I can see them all of the time. I can see the goals that are written on them, and any time that I am in doubt of what action I should be taking, I can look at that and say, does my action align with these goals? And if it doesn't, then I shouldn't be doing it. So it's a really, really important thing to say, actually, where can I keep my goals visible so that I can keep aligned with my goals every single day. Now, when you are planning your actions, it's really important to focus on 3 levels of planning. So the first one is the month by month planning. So actually, where is this goal going to fit into my year? So if, say for instance, one of your goals is that you want to refilm your course, then you might say, okay, I want to do that all in one block, 4 months in a row, at the beginning of the year, or, you know, at the end of the year, whenever it fits in for you. And so I'm going to plan all of that in one go. Bam, that's where it's going to live. Now, the good thing about that is now you know that your other 2 goals, you're not even going to think about them or worry about them until you get to the 5th month of the year. Because the first 4 months are solely for this one goal that you're focusing on. Then you might say, okay, my next 2 goals are going to be focused across, you know, 1 month on this, 1 month on that, 1 month on this, 1 month on that. However you want to do this, there's no right or wrong answer. I like to block goals together because I feel like I get more momentum in that way. But I also know from some of my clients that they really struggle to only do one thing for a solid period of time. So actually they like the variety of doing different things, and they would rather spread their goals out over a couple of months and do them, you know, a little bit further afield than just solely focus on one thing for the whole time. So whatever works for you, remember we have a full 12 months to get these goals done. It's not about how do we cram all of these goals into the first month or the first quarter. It's about how do we space them out, do them properly, and get them done well so that they actually get us the result that we want at the end. That's like the key thing here. Okay, so when we look at goals, we're gonna have 3 kind of core stages of planning before we go into evaluating. So the 3 core stages of planning is you're going to plan out month by month. So a year planner, January to December, and next to each month you're just going to put the key focus of the month, what you're aiming to get done. Then you want to break it down into month by month. So in each month there are 4 weeks or 5 weeks depending on how it falls. So how do we break down our goals into that space? Now, the reason why I like breaking it down by weeks is because some months are busier than others. Yeah? Some months have school holidays in them, some months have lots of bank holidays or public holidays, some months are a lot of family birthdays, or like we've just come through now, Christmas, New Year, you know, all of the things. And so when you are planning, I like to look at it month by month and then week by week, and I like to say, okay, actually, you know, that week's my birthday, so realistically I'm not going to be doing much in that week. I like to take that week off, so I'm not going to plan anything in, and I just like grey that week out in a spreadsheet and say like nothing is happening here. I'll do that for specific days. I'll do that for any time that my husband is going to be on holiday. And I will just basically make sure that I am clear on when I'm actually going to be working and when I'm not. Because one of the biggest dangers with small business owners particularly is we sometimes forget that we also need to take holiday at some point. Yeah? So because we work in our own environments, maybe you work from home, you forget like, oh, actually, you know, most normal people get at least 3 weeks holiday in a year where they are completely switched off and away from their computer and, you know, completely down tools. Some people get more than that. And so you need to actually like build in that time into your planning, into your goals, because otherwise you're just going to burn yourself out. So I will always look at like when it's a bank holiday, taking an extra day, you know, around the bank holiday to get a longer weekend, or you know, 2 or 3 days so that we get like a full week off during that time. And so I will plan my goals around that effort, around those dates, so that I'm never overloading myself and saying, oh, these are all of the things that I need to get done, because it's just too much. So monthly for like the whole year, weekly broken down into each month, and then daily actions. So your daily actions are where you start getting into the actual nitty-gritty of like, what are the true actions you need to take to get this done. So if it is, for instance, that you're going to build a website for your business, you want to create a checklist, like what are the actual things that I need to tick off, and you want to go into as much detail as possible. So, you know, getting all of the images for the website saved into a folder in high resolution. Tick, one thing. You know, mapping out what the 3 or 4 pages of the website are going to be. Tick. Getting a design template for what the layout's going to look like. Tick. You want to just have like all of the things literally just like motion down on a you know, a Google spreadsheet, a piece of paper, whatever you want it on, so that you can say, actually, okay, today I'm going to be focusing on the website. You can pick up the website checklist and you can go, what are the 3 things I'm going to do today off this list? And if you've written the list well, the 3 things that you do will add value to move you forward. They will be true actions to get the job done. Something I find really often is people will sit down with the big goal. So they'll be like, oh, I need to design my whole website today, because they haven't broken it down, and then they just feel super overwhelmed and they just don't touch the goal. So if you can break it down into the smallest possible pieces in a checklist, it gives you that ability to like tick off like, oh yes, I've done that, that's so awesome, I've done that. You can break the checklist down into pieces. So if I was going to do one for like a website, I would have the planning stage, I'd have the design stage, I'd have the editing stage, and then I'd have goals under each of those areas. If I was going to do a book, for instance, I would have the planning stage, the writing stage, the editing stage, and then the selling phase. However you want to break it down, you want to make sure that you are clear on each of these different things, yeah? On all of the actions that need to be taken, so that every day it's just a case of picking up the right action list and taking action. Because the more simple that you can make the process, or simpler, terrible English, the simpler you can make the process, the easier it's going to be for you to actually take the actions on the day. So by sitting down this week and actually going deep into depth with all of these different stages, it's going to make it so much easier to create this process in the long run and actually get the results that you want. Okay, so those are your 3 levels. Now, the next kind of piece of the puzzle is an actual evaluation. So your evaluation is, and I like to do this weekly, monthly, and at the end of each goal. You want to evaluate how successful you were on this path. So did the actions align with what you needed to do? How much time did you procrastinate, and what was the cause of the procrastination? Was it nervous system overwhelm? Was it not having clarity on what you needed to be doing? Was it not having the skill sets that you needed? Like, what was the thing that made it not possible for you to do the thing that you wanted to do? Once you start to evaluate, you start to build a clearer picture of how to get better at achieving your goals. And every time you get better at achieving your goals, the goals can get bigger. Yeah, the outlook that you want can get bigger. The outcome that you want, the result that you want can get bigger. So when you start this process and you say, okay, right now, like the very first thing that I need to do is create my own course. Like that is the first thing. I need to create something that I can sell that people will buy from me. Focus on that, do that. Once you've got that nailed and you've become the person who achieves the goal, your next goal can be bigger. Okay, I want to redesign this whole course and make it even better. I want to add in worksheets. I want to add in a workbook. I want to add in this. I want to, I want to build it out. I want to make it more like results driven. But you can only do that once you know how to achieve a goal. So you want to start by saying, okay, when we go through this evaluation, each week I'm going to sit down and say, what were the tasks that I wanted to get done? Did I get them done? What were the reasons that I didn't get them done? Or what were the reasons that I did get them done? Are there certain times of day where I work better? Am I first thing in the morning, crack them out in the first hour and then the rest of the day is a bit pear-shaped? Am I slow mornings, potter around, do my thing and then suddenly crack up my goals at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Like, what is your work pattern? What does this look like? How can you track this? As a woman, I absolutely love to track what my cycle does to my goals. So, there are weeks in a month where I have super energy, I'm so creative, I'm so like on fire, ready to go. And then there are other weeks where I literally just want to crawl into like lie in a ball and like cry while watching sad movies. So if we can actually open ourselves up to, okay, this is when I'm going to be in peak flow, this is when I'm not, this is when I'm going to have all of my creative energy, so I put all of my creative tasks in that week, rather than trying to plug all of that creative stuff into the week where I really like barely feel like taking the actions. So if we can go through this process and make sure that all of this sort of aligns, then it's going to be so much easier to sort of keep everything together and make everything work. Your goals, actions and evaluation should all be really specific. They should free up mental capacity because they're so detailed and so like outlined as to what you should be doing. And they should give you the clear action that you need to take and the area that your attention needs to be directed. If you can achieve those 4 things when you're aligning your goals and setting your goals, it's going to make it so much easier to actually have success in the year. And 2024 can be the year where you actually follow your goal all the way through. That's what I really want for you. Where you actually say, this is the goal I'm setting and I'm going to achieve it, like come hell or high water, because I've got this system and I can make this process work. Now, if you are thinking, I really like to do this, but I'm not 100% sure how, I do have a template guide, so you can go to the link in the comments and it'll give you everything that you need to know. But it's really as simple as a couple of pieces of paper and just following through with this video and doing each of the individual steps. You don't have to make it hard, you don't have to make it complicated, you don't need anything special. You just need to give it a bit of thought and a bit of time. And honestly, 2024 can be the year that goal that has been elusive for the last 3 years that you haven't been able to hit and you've just been resetting in 5 different ways can finally actually come true. And that's what we're aiming for. Okay, I'll see you next week. Look at this. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, sweetheart. Mom's busy filming. Mom's busy filming. Hello. Okay, come. Oh, big yawns. Big yawns. Okay, Mom's busy filming.